Ready? Okay. Ready when you are, sir.
All right, let's get this thing started. We are here to discuss the tentative agreement with the teachers. Let's stand for the pledge.
Yep.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll hand it over to Dr. Mundy.
You got it, sir. I'm actually here tonight to kind of go through with Scott and Matthew, who I'll be up front. I say it every time we meet, but gang, we're pretty fortunate to have a couple people that lead our association that really makes this process go pretty smoothly. As I go into tonight and give you a quick overview, they're welcome to chime in. You guys know that as we go along. But what I'm going to cover tonight is what we've done so far, which we've been pretty blessed to have a couple board members as part of that process, what we've done so far and where we're heading, because this is a new type of agreement, and then I'll answer any questions that we have on the upcoming contract. To make it official, this is our tentative agreement. The association has already presented it to their members. I believe you're in the voting process now.
Ratification vote today. We are, I'll have to double check, but maybe only 4 or 5 votes away from ratifying, and there have been no no's yet.
Okay, that's great news. When we went into this and when we started the conversation, as I've mentioned to the board, there was lots of changes going into this year. So many years, I've done this with Matthew and Scott in the past. You know, we've always talked about what's our percent change, how do we add that to the scale, what do we do? The state this year has added a lot of new regulations on how they want us to do stuff. Because of that, and I'm very happy to say, we've gone above and beyond, even to the point the representative from IRB, the Indiana Economic Board, said that we have probably worked harder on this than most districts at the time to make sure we're doing this right. We've also worked with ISTA, and we've also worked with Churchill and Antrim to make sure that we are following all the new rules properly. Because frankly, I mentioned to the board, they were hard to understand, even for the first, and then we kind of got through that. Some of the basics we had to start with. Minimum teacher salary needed to start at 45. We knew that was coming, and that's okay. We appreciate that rule. We had to give credit for anybody that has a literacy endorsement. That is actually now something all of our new graduates will have as they come forward, but also many of our teachers have accomplished that as well. The biggest one is the change in the traditional path of educational values. In other words, the old days that we always remember, you automatically got a step, if you will, for your year of service, and if you got a master's, you just switch from one scale to the other. That can no longer be done as easily as that can only, those two things can only account for up to 50% of a teacher's total raise. Hence, we looked at this new process. And this was the part that I think, if I'm fair to say for Scott and Matthew, took us a little bit of time to understand, and because it's a different way of thinking for teachers when it comes to it. Well, not just teachers, admin too. It's a different way of thinking. And we were up front. We have lots of concerns of where we're going. I know the board has met several times on different things that we've talked about, but none of us are sure what the new tax laws are going to do or how they're going to impact us. So we wanted to make sure we were protecting Sheridan Community Schools as we move down the road. I can't officially say that in partner with the Education Association, we've met 5 times already, as well as the school board up to this point. We've met all of our deadlines, so I have no concerns about any of the dates or meeting times that we've gotten together. What we did this year too, and I really appreciated the association's help, we have made basically out of this process 2 separate documents. In other words, to simplify and understand the financial aspects, we now have an official contract that covers benefits, it covers the ECAs, and it covers how we do salaries. And then we move some of the stuff that's been in the contract for years that we still think are important, but they technically aren't contract related, to what we called a supplemental MOU, which now contains the sick bank leave, grievance procedures. It also talks about whether you're full or part-time, how all that works. Those are all non-contractual topics that are important to teachers, and so we made sure we kept them. They will both be posted on the website. Both the supplemental MOU and the contract will be on there. The thing that we're looking at doing for this year, or the agreement we've kind of come to, we have gotten rid of more of the percent-based raise and moved to an actual dollar amount, which I'll show here in a minute, and that has led to, I think that the association's done a wonderful job of explaining that to their mentors, their members, and mentors too, I'm sure, but to their members of, this actually helps both sides. It allows you to see dollar-wise what you're getting, and it allows us also, though, to continue to increase all teachers' salaries. Some of you may see there's many districts that cap the top, or there's different ways that some areas don't get as much when you do a percent. This really allows our teachers to see what they're getting in terms of true dollars. Along that lines, it allows us basically, what we accomplished was we have moved the base salary, the starting salary, to $45,000. And for the first year, you have a potential of getting $2,600. And the second year, you can make up to almost $2,000, depending upon various categories that you're in. I did put on there for the board just to see our teachers, and I understand this, we've been blessed with lots of people that have been with us for a long time. And our teachers like to see what the top of the scale is, so I put that in there for the board to be able to see of kind of where we're at the top of our scale also. How it works. So basically, you can, as I mentioned, we have two categories that people can get potential raises in. In the experience category, which is upwards of 50%, and remember, you can't go beyond that 50% in that amount. And then we made another category, it's called academic needs. Academic needs is anything that's associated to the district that we consider important to having a teacher here for. Basically, in a small rural school, most teachers fall into this category. For the experience category, and if you're looking across, we took $2,600. The way we got to the $2,600 is we took the amount of money we had available from new dollars from the state and new tuition dollars from students, and we divided that by the total number of teachers, which then gave us the amount of approximately $2,600 per teacher that we could spend. That then break it 50-50 is $1,300. For a year of experience, we broke that into 30%, so you get up to $390 for it. So if you were here last year, you come back, you automatically get the $390. If you have your master's, because traditionally on a percent scale, your masters make more than your bachelor's. And in our district, we're a little over, right around 60%. I think the number was, if that's wrong, I apologize, but from what I remember, have master's degrees. And that's something that's come back as important to our teachers. So you can get up to $520 for having your master's. And we added another category, and we strongly believe, we are so fortunate that we have lots of teachers that stay with us. And that is not the way it is anymore in education. Many teachers move after a couple years, and frankly, because of the market, if you're a younger teacher and you want to move around, you can anymore. We are fortunate to have a lot that stay with us. So we have added a longevity amount too. So if you've been with us 11 to 15 years, you got an additional $195. Or if you've been here 16 years plus, you got $390. Those have to, because they're considered parts of the education part, have to be underneath that $1,300 for the 50% in education. Then on the other side, the way we alleviated the money was we left it to academic needs is basically 90% of that amount. So that's $1,170 that almost all of our teachers will get. The main reason you wouldn't get that amount is if you didn't have a passing eval. I mean, that's really what that comes down to. If you did not get an evaluation that was satisfactory, and these two were both a part of the new eval system as well that we're putting into play, that is really how you wouldn't get that part. Also, though, if you have that literacy endorsement, that's one of the state mandates, you can get upwards of $130. The second year, we are adding a second year, and I'll be up front, and this is where I really appreciate our association. We all know that we're not sure what the next couple years are going to look like. I think if you've heard from many of the schools around us, not many are even entertaining a second year of a contract right now. We are looking at it differently. I want, and our goal was, and in sharing with the board and with our teachers, our goal here is for our teachers to know that they're going to hear a lot. They're already starting to hear a lot on the news. You're starting to hear. We want our teachers to know that we're planning on giving them a raise for the second year coming into it, when most people are just giving one. We respect that we want our teachers to stay here. Can I sit and say that this is going to be easy to accomplish? No, I cannot. But do I think we will? Yes. What it gives us, with Kim and I and Robin and Jenna, goals that we have to make between now and next year to be able to meet this goal. And the breakdown underneath the 2,000 is a little bit less. You see how it goes, but it's the exact same categories. In the contract, the way we have to write it, we have a year for 25, 26, and then a year of information for 26, 27. This kind of leaves us, I didn't put it on here, but the only thing that leaves us fiscally that we have to work our way through is the new teacher appreciation grant process, which we have all decided we're not even approaching that until October 31st. Why are we not doing it until October 31st? That is when our state tells us how much money we're technically getting for that grant. From then, we have till the end of January to determine what that process is. The biggest change is it used to be every teacher got a little bit of it unless you didn't have a satisfactory eval. Now we can only award that to 20% of our teachers, and there's a whole process that we have to go through, and frankly, it's large and cumbersome, so we thought this was way more important to get through before we got to that. So I did want, yes, sir?
So by the end of January, we'll determine the process?
Yes.
for the teacher?
No, so after October 31st, the way it goes so far, we have turned in to say that we will be one of the schools, because schools had to choose whether or not they were going to be a part of it. We worked and said that we will be a part of it. After that, they tell us basically how much money we're getting on, the state tells us at October 31st. From there until the end of January, we have to determine what our process is going to be and who we're going to nominate. At the end of January, we have to turn in the people that we think will be part of that 20%, which for us is approximately 17 teachers, give or take, one or two. And then after that part, they get awarded the money, remember April, I was going to say April 1st. That was April Fool's Day in my head, but somewhere right around there. And then we have like 30 days to get it out, I think is what it is. It's just a different process that I'm sure I'll bring back up with the board. Yes, please.
I don't believe there's a guarantee either.
No, there's not.
Funding will cover the full percentage of teachers that they say you can max out at. Just for that background, this was something we would disperse in the beginning of January, or beginning of December, that every teacher who was with the corporation prior year and had a evaluation meeting, effective or high effective, qualified for. Now, we don't even know how many people we can put into the process, because we don't know our dollar amount.
Yeah.
which-
It's new.
So,
Yeah.
Matthew, speaking of funding, and I don't care who answers this question, but what category is this coming from? Is this coming from the education
Great
fund,
point.
referendum?
Great question. Actually, the TAG grant money, you're talking about the TAG grant money specifically?
I'm
Or
talking
all of
about the
this?
raises.
Okay, so
Mhm.
all the raises and stuff will be based out of our education fund and also the referendum that we're fortunate to have from the district.
Can you tell me the percentage breakdown?
Don't know it exactly,
Okay,
because I
that's
will
all
say
right.
it this way,
If you
though.
could just give it to me, I'd just like to know.
Okay, I can put it this way, though. Every dime of the referendum goes to salaries. I mean, that's the main thing that we do.
Great.
Now, is it every one teacher salary? No, because there's also support staff. So I can do that, but the education fund, I'm pretty close to telling you, it's almost 100% of the education fund goes to salaries. So I will get that for you, ma'am, no problem.
I just want to make sure that
Yes.
the teachers are taken care of and
Yes.
not always dependent on the referendum. if we can do
Absolutely.
that.
The referendum is right now, and the things we're going through, saving us from everything else going on, because without that, and as honest as I can be, we wouldn't be doing any of this. But I totally get what you're saying. Yes, ma'am, I'll break that down and get it to you.
Thank you.
Yep. Final parts I have are all we have left to do. I should say all we have left, because this has been going on. This has been about 2 months of getting together, and I appreciate everybody's time. Tonight, we're meeting the tentative agreement presentation. I am meeting tomorrow with Scott and Matthew. Actually, probably Scott, if you're there tomorrow, Sarah, I assume. I am meeting twice to give the teachers an opportunity to hear all of this, and meet with them in the morning and after school. And then I'll meet with the high school and middle school. I have to do it Wednesday, though, morning, and then Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning, because we have Black Hawk Ambassadors Wednesday morning as well. So the board I know this is not part of this, but so the board knows, I have also reached out and I am meeting with every one of our non-certified groups, whether it's custodians, bus drivers, IAs, everybody, to discuss their raises and everything else. I will bring to the board, as long as Mr. Henning's okay with it, I will bring to the board, actually not just this next Monday, our vote for the contract. I do plan to bring the raises for for non-certified staff in that same meeting so that we can give all the back pay out at the exact same time is what I plan to do.
And that was a question I had, just because I've been away from it for a while.
Right.
So everybody is retroactive to the start of the school year.
Yes.
Great.
And I will say this, as much as I'll kind of talk, since it's not part of this, the longevity clause, I will say we're also doing with support staff and everybody across the district. Because in that area too, we have several that have been with us for a long time. Great questions, but I will leave it with any other questions, or if Scott and Matthew, if you guys have anything else to add to.
Now, one thing with the tag money that we had talked about, and again, we were afraid that if we didn't take it, that then they would come back later and say, well, you didn't take the tag money, so, why would you want to take this? So even though it's kind of unknown how we have to divvy it up, we thought it would be silly not to take it.
Yeah, and there'll be we'll put together, the state has process and qualifications. What we have to create is how we select our 17 and 18-ish teachers. Now, be clear too, the state may only send us enough money on October 31st to cover 10 people. That's why we can't, moving too fast now would make no sense when we don't know how much we're going to get on October
The state
31st.
set funding levels that you can award to individual teachers.
Yeah,
And so it's not just as simple as us saying that we've received this amount of money that we can allocate to 20% of our staff. It is, if we get $10,000 and the minimum award is $2,500, we may be only able to recognize and honor 4 staff members. And so a number of associations across the state, initially, we're going to rebuff the tag grant, saying, how do you recognize what teacher is more valuable than another teacher on a micro level? But as Dr. Mundy alluded to, both from superintendent's perspective as well as association perspective on the state level, the fear is that if you turn this money down, the next time it comes around to fund in the 2027 session will be, we tried to give you money, you wouldn't take it.
Use
I guess
it,
now
use it or lose it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll turn off the spigot and the water runs out because you didn't want it when I offered you water.
But right now, we don't even know what those
So
restrictions
we
are.
don't even know
Okay.
what the full restrictions are. To be honest with you, the tag grant is such a mess when they originally wrote it. It basically was going to exclude whole categories of teachers, including special education, which are some of the most hard to staff positions. And so now the state has been backpedaling and really kind of doing things on the fly, like, no, what we actually said for who can qualify is not who we meant can qualify, and so everybody's really kind of in the gray on this, just waiting.
And
to
there's
see
no
what-
way then that you foresee that every teacher could get a little bit?
they've made that very clear,
Oh,
yes.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that is the system they set up, I put it that way.
Thank you.
And whether intentional or not, I would say that's the system put together, ma'am, yes. Other questions that we could gladly answer?
I'll comment and say thank you to Dr. Mundy, the central office staff, and the board for the process. It's never easy to bargain, especially the last 2 decades. It's kind of felt like we're in a constant state of flux, whether it be because of funding, or whether because of changing rules. You can see that with the edits to the contract and the need to create the memorandum of understanding, because those are things that historically had been included in contracts that what we can bargain discuss has been pared down. But again, we appreciate the process. It's been a good and a healthy process. It's never an easy process, but not because of the people that are involved, but because of the parameters in which we have to work. And from the association standpoint, I do think it's significant that we were able to add that second year, given a wide variety of factors that could impact us. And I think our staff is very understanding of that. And just for perspective, before fall break, I did in-person informational sessions at the elementary school and the high school, and then one over Zoom as well. As I said, we've started the ratification vote. I don't foresee any hiccups or snares within that. We've had no pushback in the roughly 2 weeks it's been since we started disseminating information. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wrap things up on my end and gladly answer anything else, but Matthew and Scott are right. We're in a good spot, and it's good to have an association that understands that we're trying to do, our goal, and I know this board gets it, Our goal is to do everything we can to help our teachers and our staff. I mean, that's what we're here for. And to make and if it's fiscal, as much as we can, we have always tried, and I know this board has a history of it, to do as much as we possibly can. Have we had restraints and issues in the past? We have, but it's nice knowing we have that relationship to where everybody knows that's what we're trying to accomplish. So I appreciate their work on it too, and I please want to make sure I know I said it earlier, but go back and recognize Kim and Jenna and Robin spend a lot of hours on this too, so I want to make sure they get some credit for that. Anything at all? Yes, sir.
I just want to offer a point of clarification. I should have done it when we were actually on the slide, but the longevity payments, those don't stack. It's either or.
Yes, sir. It's an either or, and I don't think I specified, I think everybody got it. It is Sheridan longevity too. So it is years of service in Sheridan. We have gone back to, we have counted, I think it affects like 1 or 2 people. If you left and came back, we counted that as well too, sir. I should clarify that.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, we counted the years you were here prior, because we've had some teachers that left, realized the grass isn't greener, and come right back to us. Or maybe a superintendent that's done that
Kind of
too.
like you. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Did we bridge yours?
Maybe 4 different times in his career, so.
No, I appreciate having that in the contract. I think that's great that we recognize those that stick with our community.
Thank you, sir.
I think it's important too, from our staff perspective, really from everybody involved, it's a dramatic shift in our compensation model. And we're trying to be a little bit ahead of the curve, understanding where things are going to go based upon just the way legislation's been written in the past 5 years. And we do appreciate that ability to incorporate elements of that longevity clause that recognize and reward more senior members, as the ability to do that under traditional forms either has disappeared, is going to disappear in the near term future. A couple local districts are kind of canaries in the coal mine for some things that the state may not like that they're retaining. So everybody's going to kind of wait and watch and see.
Part of the reason we came up with it's nice seeing, we have a large group of people that are also in that 7, 8, 9 year range. And this might be an incentive to help keep them here too. We didn't do that on purpose, but when we went back and started doing the math, we have several in that range. And if they end up sticking with this, it's nice to reward them for doing that when they get there, so.
We've struggled for a lot of years trying to figure out how we can recognize
Yes.
people who stay and stick with us and ride out these tougher times and benefit them from and a pin was not significant enough. You know, like
I do know.
we didn't do it because it was just like, we're not gonna
Yes.
give someone a 10-year pin because we waited and this came around and this was just a better option to financially reward.
Much
them.
better.
Yeah, much better than a little.
They're nice.
You know where they end up, though.
Your comment actually made me think of something, so did yours. So if you transition from, let's say, an aide to a teacher, does that,
Yes, I believe our answer on that was yes, because of the fact we're doing the same seniority with support staff, and we do have a couple people in that boat.
I would,
Yeah. And Kim, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm 90% sure when we talked about it, because we know we've had some that have stayed with us, transitioned from instructional assistants to teachers in a couple other roles, we were going to count those years. They don't add up to be a lot, to be honest with you. Many of them are only a couple years.
I'm trying to think who.
I can think of 1 or 2 in the amount of time they were.
A few that are working towards that.
Oh, but haven't got to that level yet? Probably not, but when they get there, it would count, yes.
Yeah, Amber.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a couple, because a couple of them have filled some very difficult roles too. So yes,
yeah, and then.
great question,
while
actually.
rare, going from some other like administrative role to,
Yes.
you know, that should all be.
We,
recognized.
in my mind, and I guess you're right, we'll make sure that's the way it's done, because it's years of service at Sheridan.
Yeah.
And if you spent 4 years being an instructional assistant and while you got your teacher's license and then moved to a teacher's role, you should be rewarded for that just like everybody else is. So I think that's the way, and you're right. I don't know if we have anybody that's hit that 10-year plateau yet, maybe 1 or 2. I heard you mention one name I think qualifies there. But we're going to have some coming up on it, and for sure. Because ideally, I mean, I'd like to see us keep expanding that part of it. I think the idea they came up on the recognition for seniority is awesome. and where to really help too, and not that it doesn't help here, but that's a nice thing to talk to our non-certified faculty as well. Yes, sir. Anything else?
Thank you for the presentation.
Oh,
Well-
thank
well
these
done,
guys
well
too,
put
yes.
together.
Mr. Henning, then all we need to do, sir, is I can end my part, but if there's any public comment, we just need to officially make sure there's
Okay.
no public comments, sir.
I'll open up for public comment. All right, seeing none, I'll look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor? Say
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.